can also introduce a training and certification program for public utility vehicle drivers to help reduce road accidents arising from drivers' errors. He specifically requested the inclusion of women to be trained as bus drivers to give them equal opportunity for employment. The e-vehicle program of TESDA has transformed junk cars to electric vehicles. For this gender sensitivity, we really appreciate and thank you, Secretary Villanueva. Practicing what he practically preaches, he enrolled and completed a course on food and beverage services. With a National Certificate 3, which is NC3, he is now a certified barista, and the newest addition to the list of TESDA Especialistas. At one time, the country's youngest legislator, Secretary Villanueva altered, among other laws, the Anti-Red Tape Act, the E-Procurement Act, and the Absentee Voting Act, all landmark legislation. He represented the party list SIBAC in Congress for 9 years. SIBAC, as we know, is the Citizens' Battle Against Corruption. It's a multi-sectoral organization dedicated to fighting graft, corruption, and cronyism in government. His anti-corruption advocacy is recognized in other countries, for since 2005, he has been holding the position as Secretary General of the Southeast Asian Parliamentarians Against Corruption, or CPAC, which banners the anti-corruption efforts of the region's parliaments and congresses. At a young age, Secretary Villanueva had already taken on the challenge of public service, not without academic preparation. He went to Harvard in 1996 to take up business administration right after his graduation from the University of Santo Tomas in the same year. He's also one of our champions in the Freedom of Information Act. This afternoon, the advocacy groups will be marching to Mendiola to remind Malacanang, our Congress, and the people about the critical importance of freedom of information. It's the twin of education. So while as these advocates press for information for all, we are here today discussing the importance of education for all. And we hope that today is a blessed day because among other things, I hope that our advocates will be listened to finally after 8 years of struggle. Son of a highly respected spiritual leader, Brother Eddie Villanueva, Secretary Joel continues the legacy of his father. His dynamism had caught the eye of President Aquino, who wanted him to run for the Senate. During this coming election. Of course, he was tempted. This will be under the LP coalition, but he probably thought twice, and the challenge of TESDA beckoned him, and he stayed on to complete the task. So we're fortunate. What is the loss of the LP coalition is our gain in the Education for All movement. It is indeed a pleasure and privilege to have him as our keynote speaker. Let's all give a warm welcome to Secretary Joel.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. Appreciate it, Dr. Florangel Rosario Braid, the President Emeritus of AIJC. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a great honor and privilege to be here this morning. Let me acknowledge, of course, the head of the Education Unit of UNESCO Office in Jakarta, Dr. Anwar Al Said. The President of AIGC, Mr. Ramon Flores. Tuazon, sorry. Of course, my good friend, the Chair and President of TEVSAPhil, or TechVoc Schools Association of the Philippines, Engineer Colonel Alejandro Escanio. Former Secretary also of UNESCO National Commission of the Philippines, Ambassador Preshola Soliven. To all of you, members of media, I saw Mac a while ago, there he is. Pleasant morning. Good morning, everyone. Let me first say that I did not withdraw from the senatorial race because in the first place, I never declared. Let me pose this question, first of all. How are you feeling today? Because if you ask me, there are several answers to that question. You would say you're happy, probably you're sad, angry for taking so long for this FOI measure to pass in Congress. I remember my last day in Congress, I was moving for the arrest of every single member in the House of Representatives so as to garner a quorum. But unfortunately, it didn't materialize. We all need is the gavel from the Speaker of the House, but it didn't happen. So I was so disappointed during that time. Again, there are a lot of answers to that question. You would say you're inspired, afraid, amused, annoyed, or don't care at all. And the same question I'd like to pose this morning. How do you feel today about the 10th Education for All Global Monitoring Report? Do you believe that your feelings and emotions affect the way we think and make decisions? Many researchers observe that emotions affect behaviors. Emotions provide positive or negative information on a given issue. Emotions of regret or disappointment may trigger immediate action or make an action more relevant. Love for someone or a belief in some cause would generate personal commitment to pursue a given end. Rappler, a Filipino social news network seeking to inspire community engagement and digitally fueled actions for social change, believes that, and I quote, 80% of the way people make decisions in their lives are determined by the way they feel. And because of this belief, they use a mood meter. I think some of you are aware of that mood meter by Rappler to gauge how a certain social story may inspire the global community to do collective action. Again, how do you feel today about the 10th EFA GMR? I would say I am happy, I am sad, amused, and I would actually say I'm inspired today, especially seeing all of you in this room. I definitely care for the EFA GMR, and let me share with you why I feel this way as the representative of Technical Education and Skills Development Authority. I'm a little bit sad every time you think about the countdown to 2015, and the clock is ticking very fast. Yesterday, my son celebrated his second birthday, and I just thought it was just last week when he celebrated his first. And before, I'm getting used to being called the youngest member of Congress for 6 years, the youngest member of blah blah blah, and now a lot of people that I meet, they go to me and call me Manong. Time is ticking very fast. Figures in the report are worrisome. In 2010, less than half of the world's children received pre-primary education. 250 million children couldn't read or write at the same time when they reach grade 4. 61 million children are out of school. 775 million adults were illiterate, and around 200 million aged 15 to 24 have not even completed primary school. This, of course, came from the highlights of EFA GMR. At this juncture, it's probably best to ask ourselves what went wrong. The 2002 report, and I quote, is the world on track, reminds us that achieving the 6 goals of EFA will remain a dream unless we collaborate efforts to hasten our moves and keep up the fight. Significant achievements in past years in education policies and programs as contained in the 2008 midterm review, will we make it, cannot be taken for granted, but should be used as learning experiences to move forward. We have 3 years to go, and again, the million-dollar question perhaps is, what needs to be done? Let's be hopeful and work together. I grew up in a church, and as mentioned a while ago, the last time I checked, I was the son of Brother Eddie Villanueva, and he would always talk about faith, faith being substance of things hoped for and being certain of the things that you do not see. And I always remember my dad talking about the book of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 20, that it reminds me of that quotation in the Bible that if you have a faith as small as a seed of a mustard, you can actually move mountains. You can say to this mountain to move from here to there, and nothing is impossible for you. And that's why I'm inspired, and I know and I believe that with faith behind us, we'll be able to achieve a lot of things. Nothing is impossible. I personally thank UNESCO for paying attention to the skills needs of young people in the 10th Global Monitoring Report. As the representative of Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, I ask myself, first, is the agency making an impact, especially in extending employment-relevant training to the Filipino youth? And second, are the alternative programs of TESDA sufficient in providing a route back into education and employment for our young Filipinos? I agree totally with the observation that technical education and skills development and other forms of skills training is the least analyzed and the most, unfortunately, neglected issue on the agenda of education for all. The analytical frameworks developed over the last 2 global monitoring reports will surely help us bridge the skills gap. Let us move forward knowing what else needs to be done. We have analyzed how armed conflicts affect education. We put governance at the heart of what we do in overcoming inequality. We focus on early childhood care and education and literacy for life. We searched for quality imperatives in education and pledged at eliminating gender disparities. I'm just happy every time they talk about popularizing technical education and skills development as an important first step. The mindset of many young Filipinos used to be our toughest enemy. Not a long time ago, the stigma attached to TechVoc and the penchant for college diploma caused a second-rate status to TVET. Pag sinabi pong TechVoc ka, meron pang word na lang. TechVoc ka lang. And sometimes, I feel so disappointed whenever I hear someone. I remember I was seated in one table and I heard someone talking about her son, and she was saying, mag-TechVoc ka na lang. I couldn't help myself but jump into this conversation and told them that, a welder of mine from Australia is earning about 250,000 pesos a month. So I don't think you'd say TechVoc ka lang if you're a graduate of GMAO, SMAO, NC2, NC3 of TESDA. I'm happy that we were able to create a big change in the connotation of TVET when we assumed office. We launched the TESDA Specialista program, and through, of course, TESDA's Tri-Media Exposure and Information campaign, we were able to put a premium in the role of the middle-level manpower and ensured a concrete and real career path for them. With TESDA Specialista, Filipino skilled workers are able to see their own specialty roles, whether they are plumbers, carpenters, welders, household workers, drivers, or cooks, and take pride in the dignity of their work. I remember when I took the Food and Beverage National Certificate 3, and when I graduated as a certified barista, whenever I encountered this question, why do you have to take this course? I always reply by saying, so that when the president fires me, I have a backup position. Because even at this time, when I check the records of POEA, some 35,000 individuals are needed in the food and beverage sector alone. So I don't know if the president would be happy about it, or he would be dying to fire me the next day. Our records prove that many Filipino youth have now changed their outlook about technical education and skills development sector. Last year, enrollees in all TESD delivery modes reached to a total of 1.57 million. In the latest report, this is 2012, our enrollees reached 1.49 million. With TESD, many Filipinos have been employed here and abroad in high-paying jobs as welders, caregivers, plumbers, machine operators, and electricians. With the IT BPO sector alone providing about 150,000 jobs annually, we are very happy. But so much, we need a lot of things to do in order to improve these figures. And I'm glad to share with you a few of the growing number of success stories we heard, because we feel that this is the best way of promoting technical education and skills development sector. In Masbate, Leticia Aguinaldo has put up LCA catering services and LCA bridal gowns and home of curtains. She finished dressmaking, baking, and pastry, and commercial cooking courses in DESDA. And then there's this guy from Mindoro. His name is Jonard Antonio. That's Jonard Antonio. He earned ESMA, or Shielded Metal Art Welding NC2. He now works in the Middle East, and every month he's sending 20,000 pesos to his family, 20,000 pesos to his tribe, his Mangyan tribe, Hanunu. And I don't even know how much he's making. Our team Manggagawang Pilipino, actually, our second batch will be leaving today to compete in the 9th Asian Skills Competition in Jakarta. The last time we participated in this ASEAN Skills Competition was 7 years ago. They have brought with them the dignity and pride of skilled Filipino workmanship. I am pleased to tell you that, again, I am a certified barista. I have proven that technical education courses are as respectable as regular college degrees. It's so inspiring to hear these stories, and I can share with you thousands of stories, but I'm sure we don't have enough time. But again, it's so inspiring the way we are sustaining successes in the TVET sector. I definitely agree with Stephen Covey, who said, begin with the end in mind. I believe that the third cycle National Technical Education and Skills Development Plan, or NTSDP 2011 to 2016, will get us to the right place. This is a blueprint of actions towards sustainable TVET, which I believe is a must. A national authority in TVET like TESDA is also crucial in ensuring sustainable technical education and skills development. But it is not enough that we maintain a bureaucracy working for TVET. Continuous improvement should be a call. Effective training management must go hand in hand in research and development, promotion and advocacy, partnerships, and even convergence. We push for the approval of Philippine TVET Trainers Qualification Framework, one of the many examples that we really mean business. Our quality policy is complemented by our accreditations from the Asia Pacific Accreditation and Certification Commission, or APACC, and the International Standardization Organization, or ISO 9001-2008, the first education agency in the Philippines that was certified by ISO. My favorite athlete, Michael Jordan, said, if you put in the work, the results will come. Our latest impact evaluation study of TESD program shows that employment and certification rates were 60.9% and 88% respectively. In the latest employer satisfaction survey revealed that 86% of employers were satisfied with technical education and skills development graduates. Almost 5,500, more than 5,500 public and private establishments participated in this survey. There's still work to be done. We're not saying we're done, but we're encouraged by the progress we have made thus far. The provision of scholarship programs and other training assistance are also very crucial. TESDA has two major scholarship programs, the PESFA or Private Education Student Financial Assistance under the GASPE law, where the government spends about 10,000 pesos for each trainee. And then we have the TWSP, the Training for Work Scholarship Program. I contend that TESD financing is the most important aspect of governance in TVET. Investing in the 21st century skilled Filipino workforce is definitely a smart move. We know that money is being put to good purpose when used for education. I'm also amused whenever we get the chance to have this PPP or public-private partnership. TVET is a key to better prepare our young people for a productive life. But how do we equip them with skills demanded by labor markets? We exchange insights with stakeholders and industry associations. In fact, when I assumed office, we conducted a lot of first industry forum from regions 1 to ARM to even here in NCR. We exchange linkage with priority sectors like agri, fishery, ICT, automotive, semicon, maritime, construction, and electronics and tourism. We believe is essential so that the trainings that we provide are what students need in order to get a real job, a decent job. Industries tell us the changing skills requirement of individual jobs. They help us craft our training regulations, competency-based curricula, and learning materials. Resources must also be shared. Entering into joint ventures with private organizations ensures continuous funding for technical education and skills development sector. We ink partnerships with Coca-Cola Philippines, with Holcim, PLDT, ABS-CBN, and other business groups to expand the reach of TESD in the country. I believe that this is a win-win solution for the lack of funds for TESD. I actually always try to pull a joke whenever we have this cabinet meeting in the education sector because in the last SONA, we get a lot of praises from the President, but if you look at the increase in budget, CHED got additional 8 billion pesos for DepEd. They had about 28 billion pesos for new classrooms. TESDA, I'll talk about it later when cameras are off. In our partnership with Coca-Cola, resulted in training interventions that would help women in rural communities become better entrepreneurs and enable them to tap resources to grow their business. In fact, Coca-Cola committed to empower 100,000 women sari-sari store owners with a startup capital of 5,000 pesos. Our role, TESDA's role, is in providing capacity building on entrepreneurship and enterprise development. We have done a lot of outside-the-box programs. I think some of you have heard about the Pinoy Bayanihan program. One time we were having dinner with the President and the President said, DENR Secretary Pae mentioned about these confiscated logs and they've been confiscating millions of board feet all over the country, and whenever they bid it out, the winning bidder would end up these illegal loggers in the country, and they couldn't do anything about it. And when the President looked at me and I told him, we can transform this to chairs and armchairs and tables for our teachers and students from DepEd. And Brother Armin said, wow, it's a good idea, why don't we do it? I told him, I just need financing for equipment, and we can do this in such a way that, you know, it's not just an anti-corruption advocacy. We will also do this in such a way that we give livelihood programs to our communities by teaching them how to become furniture makers. So we did this, we launched this in Caraga region, somewhere in Agusan del Sur, and right now we have remitted some 37,000 armchairs for the Department of Education. We launched a couple of weeks ago the production center here in NCR, and we are expecting about 30 to 40,000 chairs in the first quarter of 2013. Participation in TVET will increase through alternative routes, and we have more than, let me share with you also, we have more than 46,000 online trainees benefiting from our TESDA online program in just a click of a finger. We have buses equipped with multimedia equipment, computers, tools, training chairs, and other supplies needed for training students on short courses. These mobile training buses hit various provincial roads to give skills development a new spin. Training happens where talents reside. If you can't go to TESDA, TESDA goes to your doorsteps. Alternative pathways in TVET shouldn't end in training alone. We help boost job prospects for our graduates through the TESDA Specialista Technopreneurship program. As I mentioned earlier, we had 60.9% employment rate. But when the President asked me, what do you do with the 39.1% who are still unemployed? So we came up with this Technopreneurship program. We aggregate them into groups called Samahang TESDA Specialista in order to provide services to households and communities. And if you would recall the last State of the Nation address by the President, he made mention about this program that 5,240 who initially enrolled in this program are now earning 524 pesos a day, more than the minimum wage. In fact, if you go to Batangas Port, if you would notice these masahistas in the port area, they are earning about 1,200 pesos a day under this program. With technical and entrepreneurship training combined, TVET becomes a venue for the youth to start and operate their own business. The winning artwork of Khalid Muhammad Hamad El Khatib, In the Middle of Nowhere, describes how the youth of today are lost in the mismatch of skills and work. I think it's an excellent illustration of the core message of the 10th Education for All Global Monitoring Report. We want young Filipinos to enter the world of work with confidence. We don't want them to be part of the unemployment or underemployment statistics or trapped in jobs earning poverty line wages. We have taken 3 giant steps already in the implementation of the dual training system, the K-12 Enhanced Basic Education Curriculum, and the Philippine Qualifications Framework. The dual training system, an enterprise-based training which combines theoretical and practical training. I'm sure Engineer Escano very well knows about this. And DTS, the school and the workplace shared the responsibility of providing trainees with well-coordinated learning experiences and opportunities. Trainees under the DTS spend at least 40% of the learning time in school and 60% of practical training in the company. Right now, we have 385 accredited companies and 65 schools under the DTS program. This year, some 11,028 DTS trainees were enrolled in various training qualifications. Second, we will integrate in an on-the-job training similar to the DTS in the K-12 curriculum. The K-12 is a big step in making sure that Filipino high school graduates are ready for employment. The TVET track in the K-12 curriculum will give students the opportunity to explore from a list of technology and livelihood courses. In 2016, we will have the first graduates in junior high school ready to go to the employability track in senior high school. Third is the Philippine Qualifications Framework. or the PQF, in line with the K-12 preparing students into the labor force, which President Aquino recently institutionalized through an executive order. Executive order, if I'm not mistaken, number 83. The PQF will harmonize basic education, technical vocational education, and higher education into a nationwide schedule of skills and competencies. With the PQF, students gain a clearer picture of the competencies they need for their job interests, while employers are able to easily identify the basic work skills their employees must possess. Again, I am confident that these reforms to our educational system, we will be able to eventually solve the problem of job mismatch in the Philippines. Yes, it is a big challenge today to give jobs to around 2.8 million Filipinos, or roughly 7% of the population, and give better employment options to 8.5 million Filipinos, or 22.7% of the working population. Again, much needs to be done, and I'm happy that at TESDA we have begun. Our experiences at TESDA affirm our belief that we need to ensure that the youth get foundational, transferable, and technical skills. Therefore, our joint task is not only about making sure all children get education, but it's also about grooming them for better employment options, as a productive life, and even a better future. Let me end by saying that and hoping that TVET will continue to be involved in the Education for All process throughout the rest of the EFA Global Monitoring Reports. And again, in your midst at this moment, here at the 10th EFA GMR launching, I am, for the record, I'd like to say that I am happy and I am inspired, and I definitely wanted to be part, and because I also care for EFA. I hope and pray that we all feel the same, and yes, we can, together, we can meet the EFA's goal for the learning needs of all our children, the youth, and adults by 2015. All of you, thank you so much for your patience. God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Joel Villanueva. That was very enlightening and very encouraging. Salamat po. May I ask our President, Mr. Tuazon, and Dr. Anwar Al-Said to present this certificate of appreciation to Secretary Villanueva. And may I read: UNESCO Office Jakarta and the Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication present this certificate of appreciation to Honorable Emmanuel Joel J. Villanueva, Secretary, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, as a token of our sincere gratitude for sharing his precious time and words of wisdom as keynote speaker at the forum and launch of the Education for All Global Monitoring Report 2012, held November 12 to 13, 2012 at Astoria Plaza, Ortigas Center, Pasig City, given this 12th day of November. Signed, Dr. Anwar Al-Said, Head Education Unit, UNESCO Office Jakarta, Ramon R. Tuazon, President, AIGC.